Hi, and a great big warm welcome to episode 25, season 2 of the Ask Zofie podcast, take 2, because you know how I often go, just checking I'm recording. And then I said last week or the week before, I'm not going to do that. Well, I didn't do that and I wasn't recording. So I recorded the whole episode and got to the end and was like, no. So yeah, I'm just checking. I feel like I did press record again. So who knows what happened, that, let's just say, the most amazing recording I've ever done of the Ask Zofie podcast has just vanished into the ethers. You will never know what I said about the road sweeper. That's it. Okay, so today, oh yeah, what I did say at the start of the last episode was, sorry about my ceiling. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you're not watching, if you're just listening, you'd be like, I don't care. But as you will probably know, I've not long moved into my new home and I've started basically making a big old mess with the place. So you can see the ugly ceiling behind me, which should be in a couple of weeks made look all pretty again. So bear with me. And then 2, my daughter is home today, not very well. So you might hear the odd intermittent cough because that's her poorly ass self in my bedroom trying to make her way through the day without getting too bored. But she said it's better than being at school, which of course I can understand. Yeah, okay, just checking. I'm still recording. Fingers crossed that's all okay. Oh, Laffy is sneaking in the background there. As well. Okay, so yeah, I've got what I want and now I'm afraid is what I've called today's episode. Extra confusing for me, I'm recording this actually on a Wednesday. Normally, as you might know, I do 2 episodes every other Monday and release them weekly on a Monday. But because the plasterers are coming back next Monday to make more of a mess, and I didn't have a chance to do the episode Monday before, I thought I'd sneak in a recording today. And also because my friend asked me a question, which is what I'm answering, and I really wanted to share on this, hence I'm here confusing myself on a Wednesday. So I am going to do, actually, no, I'm going to do my pick from Love Notes in a minute, because before that, I'm going to share my behind the scenes. If you listened or watched last week, you will have heard me say that I had a thing with, basically, I got the bill in the post from the HMRC saying I owed £5,250 stamp duty that hadn't been paid. And I was like, I thought this just got paid. Okay, well, if I haven't paid it and I'm £5,000 down, okay, I'll just pay it. And then I got a letter a couple of days later, I think it was. I can't remember, I think I did share all of this. Yeah, anyway, a letter from my mortgage company saying I was owed a rebate. Sorry, that's I'm not going to say her name because she's going to start speaking Alexa, making a funny noise in the background. Got it all going. I've got coughs, I've got the cat, I've got you know who. Oh, Laffy's now on my lap. She's turning into. Are you stepping into Susie's shoes, Laffy? Oh, bless her. So I got the check saying a letter from Santander saying that they owed me that the same amount. So I was like, okay, well, I was £5,000-ish down. Now I'm even. Well, when I went to the solicitor yesterday to do with something to do with the sale, she said no, the stamp duty has been paid, they just haven't registered it because they changed their company name between me signing them up and me basically buying the new property. So what I want to share is I received actually just today in the post, and I tried to show it earlier so I know it doesn't work, you can't see the amount, but a check from Santander for £5,250. Now there's lots of cool things about this. Number one is that we could say I manifested £5,000-ish. Yes, you could say, well, it was already yours anyway. But as far as I was concerned, I didn't have that money, and now I do. So I am that for me is a win. The mind will find fault in it. It's the way that it goes. That's not my cup of tea to work that way. So I'm really happy about that. The second is that was supposed to be a deposit in my account, not a check. Okay, but they had the wrong account details for me, which is why they had to send me a check. And I have invested in a few courses recently as I'm financially in a better position, and I want to keep working on that. And also it helps me with my work, lots of different things. Anyway, and one of the teachers that I'm in her course talks about people getting checks in the mail. And I'm like, oh, I want to get a check in the mail. And this, of course, was the path of least resistance, A, for me to manifest, to feel that sense of manifesting abundance, and C, for me to get an actual check. Like, how cool that all those things had to come together for that to happen. And then the third thing is, there was a story, and I when I told this earlier, I'm just double checking and it is still recording. It's like a Buddhist or a Zen tale, and it's something like, there's this Zen master, whatever he is, in a village, and a young girl in the village gets pregnant. She tells her parents it's his baby, and so they go to him. They're really angry, and he says, you know, you're this, that, and the other. And he says, is that so? And he deals with it in this very level, calm manner. And then they go back to him later and they go, here's the baby, you've got to look after it. And he's like, is that so? And then years later, they find out the girl had lied and it wasn't his baby, and they go and they take the child back. We've come to take the child. And he says, is that so? And he meets each of these situations, each of these circumstances, kind of being vilified, and then having something placed upon him that's not his responsibility ultimately, and then having something taken from him that one would assume he'd grown to love and care for, in this level way. And I'm not saying I'm a Buddhist monk here. Oh, it's done that thing where I've raised my hand, and because I'm recording on Zoom, the GIF comes up or whatever it is, which again, you'll be like, what's she on about if you're just listening? But I'm really thankful that I was able to meet those circumstances. You're $5 down ish, there or thereabouts. Now you're equal, and now you're up, and without getting in the flap about any of it. Why am I sharing this? Not to be a big head. That is so not my vibe. But just to say, it's possible to meet circumstances in your life in this much calmer manner. And then what happens is, because you're in a much more accepting state, you're in a much more allowing state. Like someone said to me the other day, if I just accept what I've got that I don't really want, won't the universe think that not bother with me? It doesn't work this way. It's the opposite of that. When you're accepting, you're in your most allowing state, as I've just said, and this is your most magnetic state. You are incredibly magnetic to all of your desires when you are in that accepting frame of mind. And so I'm sharing it to show you that it's possible for me, and therefore it's possible for you, it's possible for anyone. And the possibilities that come along with that are you being much more magnetic to the life that you dream of, to all of the stuff that you've ever asked for in your entire incarnation as you in this life. How freaking cool is that? Anyway, okay, I found the page that I found earlier from Love Notes, which is what I'm going to share. It's page 52, and it is, listen carefully for me, for I speak in loving, lulling whispers, my dear. And what I said earlier, which is what I want to say again, is it reminded me of something that came up this morning that I picked when I was at the breakfast table, which is, don't let my whispers fool you. This is page 113. I am mighty, all powerful, invincible, invulnerable. Rest with me and be sane. And of course, both of these speak to the kind of the quietness in some ways of the divine. And at the same time, it's might. And I think it's the Bible where it talks about listening for and to that small, still voice inside. Okay, let me get into it. My friend, who I'm not going to say all the details on who it is because I don't have her permission, but long story short, has left a job that wasn't right for her, was never right for her. She's a generator in human design, and if you don't know what that means, is generators are designed to do what lights them up, and when they're lit up, they light up those around them. The job that she was doing was so not lighting her up. It was so not right for her, so not benefiting her, and therefore everyone with whom she comes into contact. Ultimately, she left and has embarked upon something new, which is way better for her. And so she messaged me and said a few other things, but basically, I'm having a crisis in confidence. And this is really my A to her Q, if that's the if that's the right way round. Few things I want to say on this, so helpful. Number one is good, like great. When this stuff comes up, it means that we can deal with it. We can do something about it. We can let it go. Like I always say, if you're going out on a date with someone who you think is hot, and you've got spinach in your teeth, you want to know like before you go, right? Not during or after the date. That would suck. And this is sort of kind of like that. So all of the things, the limiting beliefs and ideas and the tension and so on that's holding us back, if we don't know about it, it's running us. We are being ruled by it. As soon as we become aware of it, we can do something about it. We can let it go. So the other analogy I like is to think of a rocket that has boosters on it to get it off the ground. So I'm just double checking my recording and it all looks good. To get that rocket off the ground, but then after a while, the rocket has to drop those boosters because they are heavy and they will hold it back. And you will have, all of us, each of us have beliefs that may or may not have served us, like the rocket boosters. They maybe never served us, which is often the case, but they're definitely not serving us now, and they're definitely not a match to where we're going. You know, like if you're a people pleaser and you want to become head of a company, for example, those two are not going to work together. So you've got to drop the people pleasing. If you're a worrier and you want to become, I don't know, you want to do something great with your life. I mean, worrying doesn't help anyway, but you're going to have to leave that thing behind. If you're really jealous and insecure and you want an amazing relationship, you're going to have to work on that, because that jealousy and that insecurity is not, I can't think of the word, cannot coexist with you being in a beautiful relationship. So celebrate when this happens. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say that I mentioned in the episode that I did not record was, if you want to sneak into Reframe before I launch it properly, probably end of May, that's my plan, 99% sure, message me, because I've got, for a short period of time, a way for you to sneak in to, like everyone that's in it, get the 7 modules now and access to everything, as everybody will that's in it, when it is released. So message me, because if you missed out and you're like, oh, I really want to be getting going on this, I have a way for you to join before I launch it properly at the end of May. Okay, yeah, so I just saw my notes and realized I forgot to share that with you. So yeah, it's not something to be ashamed of or afraid of, or to think, oh my God, like, why am I having all these weird, funky thoughts? It's normal, it's natural, it's to be expected, it's a good thing. In fact, it's a great thing. The second thing is, and again, I say this heaps, is that fear speaks loudest when you're on the precipice of great change. Fear speaks loudest when you're on the precipice of great change. What is this? Amazing news! Amazing news. Because if fear is really loud in your ear, you know that this is a sign, this is your sign that you are on the precipice of something. You're about to fly, to soar, to up level, to grow, to improve, to see things shift in a positive way for you in your life. Because if you're just plodding along, if you're totally just doing same, you know, what's that saying? Same day, different, whatever that saying is. You're not prodding that metaphorical bear. It's just sleeping. It's happy because you're not going anywhere. The second you're like, right, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to live the life of my dreams. I'm going to do something awesome. It wakes up and it's like, right, I cannot be having this. So it's an awesome sign. We want to keep reframing this, flipping the script on this. It's a great thing. Okay, and that doesn't mean you just ignore it and you just carry on regardless, because that's not wise. The other thing I want to say is, it's like, you can think of it as like going to the gym, right? We don't just go once and then you're fit for life, or eat one apple and then you're healthy forever. If frickin' only. Read one self-development book and then you've got it nailed. Meditate once and then you're like just with God all the time. No. And so what happens is, you take a step forward in life and then guess who joins you? Hi, it's me. I'm your inner critic. Come along for the ride. Always, okay? So there's a saying, new level, new devil, which, I don't know, can feel a bit depressing, but ultimately it's not. It's freeing when you get it, okay? You're always going to be growing and developing and have stuff to work on. And this is kind of part of the joy of life, that you get this sense of progression and growth. So just know this. You're going to take a step and it's going to be there. And so at each point, at each juncture, you just deal with what comes up. And it gets easier. Like, I have so many notebooks full of me going through the belief shifting process. And in Reframe, the belief shifting module, I think it's going to be the last, but I can't remember. it's going to be a hefty one because there's so much to get to and it is so helpful. And I will go through this process in great detail in that. But I'll share a bit on it today. It does get easier. Like now I can kind of just go through it in my head. But at each stage, there'll be like more murk and gunk that will be kind of like, you know, imagine that you're muddying the water that looked clear, but now you're shifting momentarily. It's like, okay, let's work through this stuff. And now I'll do a lot of it just literally in my head versus writing all out. But a couple of exercises I want to say and share that will help you to process this stuff, to let it go. The first is something that I do when I have this sense that the way I think of it is that the wolves are at the door. Like I got this from Elizabeth Gilbert at one of her workshops a bunch of years ago. And what you do is you write out, I am your fear and this is what I want you to know. And you just put everything out on the pages, whatever, all the worst stuff. Like I think, you know, when I die, if someone looked through all my journals and my stuff, they'd be like, this woman was freaking cool. And that is one of the crazy thoughts that goes through my mind, is like, what people are going to think, you know, about all my secret stuff when I die. Does anyone else ever think that? Anyway, yeah, you get it all out on the, what's it called? It's like a, what's it, like a word vomit, but that's not right. Whatever it's called. In the episode that I didn't record, I couldn't remember what kick it to the curb was. And I remembered and I was so happy. Can't remember why I was saying that now. Oh, I was saying that about our negative thoughts. So yeah, you write out everything that fear wants you to know. No judgment, don't freak out. It's normal, we all have these crazy thoughts. You think yours are crazy, mine are crazier. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Anyway, and that I'm saying that having worked with hundreds, thousands, I don't know, a load of people over the years. And I'm like, your crazy thoughts are lame compared to mine. Anyway, and then you write out, I'm your divinity and this is what I want you to know. And of course, the two are like night and day, poles apart. And this is a really powerful exercise. The other thing you do is you just think, like with my friend, so her thing is, I'm having a crisis in confidence. Like, what is coming up in you? I don't know enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm an imposter, whatever it is. Write these beliefs out. And then you want to talk yourself into better feeling thoughts and beliefs around it, because your beliefs act as self-fulfilling prophecies. So if you believe you're not good enough, it's going to be really challenging / impossible to create a situation where anything other than this is proven to you. So you want to start talking yourself round into, I'm really good at what I do, or whatever it is, and then talk yourself into believing these. Again, I'll go into this in loads more detail and reframe. And if you've got any questions, message me because I can explain a bit more. But not in too much depth in this particular episode. But you want to just get them out, talk them out, write them out, and come up with something better that you can get on board with, that you can believe in, and then use this as your mantra. Because like Abraham Hicks say, thoughts that you think repeatedly become your beliefs, and beliefs act as self-fulfilling prophecies. They ultimately create your reality. This is why the beliefs that you hold are so impactful and have the potential to be really damaging or really supportive and helpful, depending on which kind of thoughts that you think repeatedly, which kind of beliefs you choose to hold. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. The main thing is, know that this is just natural and normal. It's nothing to be afraid of or ashamed of. So when these things come up, it's a cause, from my perspective, for celebration, because you know you're on to something with great potential. And the thing that I see so commonly is that people take that step and then fear kicks in and they retract. And I'm like, no, come on, you've got this. This morning, Vincent took the bin out for me, and there's like a big communal bin that you have to open the lid and then get the bin bag in. And I was in the car watching, and he was struggling, and I was like, you got this, because I wanted to show him that he could do it, right? And eventually he got that in, and I've got no idea. Why was I telling you that? It's totally gone out of my brain. But the point is to believe that you can do anything you set your mind to. And I can't remember why I was telling you that story. But yeah, your beliefs are powerful, all powerful. So choose what you're believing carefully. Why was I telling you that? Don't know. It's totally gone. But yeah, know that when those fears come up, this is cause for celebration. This is nothing at all, like, on the contrary, to be afraid of. Okay, I really hope that that helps. I will be back next week because I should be able to record an episode. I think that this one's going out just before Easter, in which case I will say to you, have an awesome Easter. And thank you so much for watching or listening. Why was I telling you the Vincent story? I have to listen back to it and then I'll get it and I'll tell you on Instagram or something. But thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I will be back in a week's time. For now, lots of love.